This is a lovely day. Welcome to Nimrod Radio Worldwide. This is World News. My name is Bimpe Esan Adedeji. Let's go through the headlines of the news stories first. The official of Israel released a wave of hope to secure the freedom of the October 7 architect Yahya Sinwar hostages in return. Controversy in judicial reform in Mexico. Protesters in their chamber. Once arrested but now enlisted among the Ukrainian army fighting with the forces of Russia. The reason the Nigerian National Petroleum Company Limited may not raise petrol from Dangote refinery on Sunday. The details of the news. The official of Israel released a wave of hope to secure the freedom of the October 7 architect Yahya Sinwar hostages in return. As reported, a wave of hope is released by an official of Israel to ensure that the Hamas leader, Yahya Sinwar, is free from Gaza as soon as the hostages in Palestine gain their own freedom. Gal Hirsch, the Israeli coordinator for hostages and the missing, relayed to the news agency that the 101 hostages are to be released as Hamas chief terrorist, New Hitler Sinwar, will be given a secured pathway of freedom and to those that will want to join him out of Gaza. According to report, Gal Hirsch said the other conditions lie in demilitarization and the radicalization of Gaza. To this end, he said, Gaza could be recovered from war. As reported, while on an interview with the news agency, the proposal for a well-secured release for Sinwar has been given and the reassurance is given on the platform of interview. As gathered from Gal Hirsch, the offer for this release was deliberated 36 hours ago. Holding to its outcome, he said Israel would not resist any deal that opens the door of freedom to prisoners. The news agency that gathered the news contacted Hamas for comment on the proposal and visited the Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu's office to react to it. As reported, the briefing for diplomats was conducted on Wednesday for ceasefire talks as regards Israel and Hamas. The Israel's official relayed to the news agency Sinwar did not show any sign of having interest in leaving Gaza. He did not even say the promised secured pathway of freedom has been special. According to the Israeli official, Sinwar is having the opinion its safety is more guaranteed in Gaza than it is in other countries like Iran or Lebanon. According to the accusation of Israel on Sinwar, and as reported, he was a major designer of the October 7 mass killing in Israel when 1,200 people died by the hands of the militants and 250 people were taken hostages. Nevertheless, he was among those leaders of Hamas that the prosecutors of U.S. charged for the brutal attack. As reported, the announcement of Sinwar as the next political bureau of Hamas came after the assassination of Ismail Haniyeh. Controversy in judicial reform in Mexico. Protesters in their chamber. As gathered by the news agency, the Senate in Mexico almost passed a judicial reform having a controversy hanging on it on Wednesday morning. The protesters gained entrance forcefully into their chamber and the proceedings could not continue few hours after their entry. As reported, the vote of the Senate was a major exercise that could have changed the old Mexican constitution by which the Mexico citizens will choose caliber of judges in government in a general vote. There have been lots of opposition to this event, especially as the outgoing president Andres Manuel López Obrador heads the opposition groups. The staff in their country judiciary fell among, and those from the Supreme Court are presently on strike. According to report, the protesters gained access into the proceedings by struggling with the officials at the door. The other Mexicans seated at the gallery of the chamber were waving their country's flag, while the lawmakers responded by teasing them. One protester sustained injury, as stated by the communication team of the Senate, and an opposition Senate claimed some of the protesters attacked his eyes with gasoline. As reported, in recent time, the lawmakers in the opposition group have given the report of proposed bribe and pressure mounting to compromise figures during vote, according to the coordinator of senators for the National Action Party (PAN), Senator Guadalupe Magor. As gathered by the news agency, the Senate gathered at another place and got the security of the police force in large number. They had the reform passed, and the result came out as 86 favorable votes, 41 against them, and no senator was absent. All voted. As reported, their first election in the judiciary could be made possible next year. Once arrested but now enlisted among the Ukrainian army, fighting with the forces of Russia. According to report, Pakrooks in the eastern part of Ukraine have a group of men with two major similarities. All served their country within a short space of time and all spent some time in prison. Their group are 15 young members of 59th Brigade. They are a branch of Shalva, a Wing Ghost battalion. They were formerly called prisoners, charged to court for various crimes. Now they were recruited into the Ukrainian army. They viewed their service as a redemptive tool, as an opportunity to start to live on a clean sheet. As reported, the recruitment of the prisoners into the military of Ukraine is to make them remain in the army till the war ends. These men are to be given financial incentives as $500 to $4,000 every month, depending on their placement as stated by the Defense Ministry of Ukraine. As gathered by report, the news agency for this news was allowed to meet the newly recruited soldiers from prison last week at crucial Donbas town of Pokworks. It's a transformed place in recent weeks. According to report, Vitaly is 41-year-old, formerly an addict, now recruited, a father of 5, who demanded being addressed in his first name. He gave the account of his trial as a 10-year term imprisonment, which came through the overview of 4 different crimes. As reported, he said he was among the bandits while growing up, as it is common with those recruited with him. The report gathered stated there are 21 days of training. Though Vitaly mentioned life to be hard, he said they are still able to catch fun, and for him, it's a privilege serving in the army. An initiative was launched to recruit prisoners into army, and they were given strict rules. Though there was a boundary given to their recruitment, those with the crime of rape or sexual violence were not part of those recruited. The reason the Nigerian National Petroleum Company Limited may not raise petrol from Dangote Refinery on Sunday. As reported, the Nigerian National Petroleum Company Limited announced that it will begin to raise the premium motor spirit, generally known as petrol, from Dangote's refinery on September 15. But 4 days to the actualization of the announcement of the NNPCL, the hope is bleak. As the news agency gathered, the 2 parties involved have not reached any point of agreement as touching the commercial issues around the product coming from the refinery of the businessman. The news agency contacted sources from both NNPC and Dangote's refinery, and it was deduced the 2 industries that deal with oil have not struck any deal on the pricing of the product and the quantity of oil to be raised by the NNPC. As gathered by the report, Segun Adedeji said on a live TV program that NNPC will raise the petrol from Dangote's refinery on September 15. According to him, some factors would be responsible for the price of the product from the refinery. Exchange rate and the forces in marketing the product remain the determinants. He mentioned it is a deregulated market. As relayed by the sources with the government and as reported, no paperwork has been pushed by the 2, NNPCL and Dangote's refinery, to raise the petrol on September 15. As reported, a high officer at Dangote refinery that spoke with a member of the news agency said he was not authorized to discuss the matter, but he confirmed there is agreement on pricing. There is no agreement yet on pricing and raising the product. As we heard Nimrod Radio World News, he had the headlines of the news stories again. The official of Israel released a wave of hope to secure the freedom of the October 7 architect Yahya Sinwar hostages in return. Controversy in judicial reform in Mexico, protesters in their chamber. once arrested but now enlisted among the Ukrainian army, fighting with the forces of Russia. The reason the Nigerian National Petroleum Company Limited may not raise petrol from Dangote refinery on Sunday. That ends Nimrod Radio World News today. Thanks a lot for watching. My name is Bimpe Esan Adedeji. Have a blessed day.